All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on HTML to look at the real power players, attributes. These are the little bits of code tucked inside your tags that do all the heavy lifting, turning simple text into the amazing, interactive web pages we use every single day. Have you ever stopped and wondered how that plain A tag magically becomes a clickable link? Or how an image tag knows which picture to show? Well, it's not magic, not at all. The secret ingredient is right there in the code. It's the attributes. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll break down what attributes actually are. Then, we'll look at the universal tools you can use on almost anything, and the specialized gear for specific jobs. After that, we'll talk about coding with care. And finally, peek at some really cool next-level techniques. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. If you think of your HTML tags, like a paragraph tag or a div, as your basic Lego blocks, then attributes are the instruction manual telling each block exactly what to do. So what are they really? Well, they're basically special instructions that we add to the opening HTML tag. They don't actually show up on the page for users to see, but they're giving critical commands to the browser, controlling how an element behaves, what it looks like, and how we can identify it later.
And the structure is super simple. It's always the same. You've got the attribute's name, like class here, followed by an equal sign, and then its value wrapped in quotes. This simple name-value pair is what gives the browser a very precise command for that specific element.
Now, what's really cool is that some attributes are so useful you can slap them onto almost any HTML element out there. We call these global attributes, and they're like your universal toolkit for web development.
Yeah, you can really think of them like the hammer, screwdriver, and measuring tape in your toolbox. They're the absolute essentials you'll find yourself reaching for on pretty much every single project you build.
And out of all these tools, ID and class are the two you're going to use constantly. The big thing to remember is this. An ID has to be totally unique on a page, kind of like a fingerprint. There can only be one. A class, on the other hand, is for grouping. You can give the same class name to a whole bunch of elements to treat them all the same way. Okay, so we have our everyday tools. But sometimes you need a specialized piece of equipment. And that's where element-specific attributes come in. These are designed for one very particular job. I mean, a perfect example is the anchor tag. Without that href attribute, an A tag is just text. It does nothing. But the second you add href and give it a web address, boom, you've got a hyperlink. That one attribute gives the tag its entire reason for existing. And it's the exact same story with images. An image tag is totally useless without the source attribute. That's the what. It tells the browser what picture to go find. But just as important is the alt attribute. This is the why. It provides a description for screen readers and search engines, and it's absolutely crucial for making the web accessible to everyone. Then you have these really simple ones that act like on-off switches. They're called Boolean attributes. What's weird is you don't give them a value like true or false. Nope. If the attribute is just there, it's on. If you leave it out, it's off. So by just adding disabled to this checkbox, we've turned it off and a user can't click it anymore. Okay, so we've got our toolkit, but any great craftsperson knows it's not just about having the tools, it's about knowing how to use them right. Coding with care is all about building websites that work well, are easy to maintain, and are accessible to everyone. And when it comes to accessibility, there's a really important saying from the Mozilla Developer Network. No ARIA is better than bad ARIA. It's a reminder that while these advanced attributes are meant to help, if you use them wrong, you can actually make your site worse and even more confusing for people using assistive text. So following a few simple best practices will save you a world of headaches. Always put quotes around your attribute values. Always write good descriptive alt text for your images. Try to use class for your styling instead of sticking styles directly into the tag. And of course, use names that make sense and never, ever, ever reuse an ID on the same page. All right, let's wrap up with a couple of pro-level tools. These are attributes that are super useful for modern web development, especially when you're dealing with JavaScript and performance. First up are the data-attributes. These things are awesome. They let you store your own custom information right there in the HTML for your JavaScript to find later. It's like leaving little sticky notes on your elements for your scripts to read, which keeps everything nicely organized. And this one is a real game changer. By just adding loading equals lazy to your images or videos, you're telling the browser, hey, don't bother downloading this until the user is actually about to see it. For a page that's heavy on media, this single attribute can make your site feel dramatically faster. It's amazing. So there you have it. From giving a tag a simple name to boosting your site's performance, attributes are really the key to unlocking everything that HTML can do. They let you build things that aren't just working, but are accessible, fast, and dynamic. The only question left is, with this new toolkit in hand, what are you going to go build?